This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
How would you like to get more customers, make more profits, and have bigger breakthroughs? Get Doberman Dan's Profit Boosting Breakthroughs. Normally, this would cost you $98 per month, but right now, for listening to this show, he's giving you a free copy of his Doberman Dan letter. All you have to do is go to DobermanDan.com and sign up to get your free copy now.
Prepare yourself for the uncensored, nothing held back, no BS reality of how business and life really work. Doberman Dan is off the chain.
Welcome back, boys and girls, to another edition of the Off the Chain Show with your man, Doberman Dan. And today, Dan, I heard a rumor that you have someone special for us. What do you got cooking up back there?
We got someone special, that's for sure. I'm excited to be talking to him. We're talking with internet marketer extraordinaire, Russell Brunson. What's up, Russell?
Not much, man. How you been?
Doing great. Been looking forward to this.
Wait a second. Russell, is that what you call yourself, an internet marketer?
I don't even know anymore.
He's the true title would just be, I don't want to put you in a box. You're a marketer.
I thought he was like kick-ass, take-name business person, but yeah, that's just me and my imagination.
He's the typical serial entrepreneur, that's for sure. And online marketer, direct response marketer. I'm so
obsessed with it all. It's like at a point, it's hard to like define yourself. It's like, man, like I geek out on all of it so much, and we have so much fun with all pieces. Because I always laugh at it too, like how much people say I'm an internet marketer. Yet, I'd say a third of my income comes offline, and so it's like, but I'm also an offline marketer. Anyway, it's I don't even know anymore.
I've gotten direct mail from you, by the way. Yeah, you're a dude who uses marketing to achieve the ends that he desires.
Yeah, that's the best definition yet, I think. That's what I am. I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says that.
Put it in your bio.
So tell everybody your story, how you found your way into this. I've been following you a long time, and I got a ton of questions, but as Dan Kennedy puts it, he says, so tell us how you got converted over to the dark side of direct marketing.
Welcome to the dark side. Well, for me, it started, man, and like, I feel like I'm super young. People always think I'm like 11 years old, but like it was almost 13 years ago now that I started this game, or trying to play the game. I wasn't good at first at all, but I was in college. I was wrestling. I just met my beautiful wife and asked her to marry me, and she said yes, which was awesome. But then I was like, oh crap, how am I gonna like support her and wrestle and like go to college and all those things that kind of go with being a student athlete and married and everything. And so I was like, I got to figure out some way to make money. And like literally that night, there was an infomercial about like an event happening at Holiday Inn that's going to teach you to get rich on the internet. I was like, I am in for that. Let's go. So I went to the event and started learning about internet marketing and got sold on a bunch of stuff. I think they sold me a $5,000 merchant account. And then it was like a website for like $100 a month. And it was just the hosting alone. And it was just, anyway, I didn't spend a whole bunch of money I didn't have. And then went home that night and did some research and found out I didn't need any of it. So I refunded it all. But then like, I was like okay, this is cool. I need to start learning this stuff. And so that started a journey that took me about 2 years of trying all sorts of stuff before I realized I actually had to create a product and learned about these pesky little things called sales letters. And I wrote one of those and then started selling stuff. And then I remember like when I first started making sales, like I got addicted and became obsessed with this. And I'd say the last probably 12 years of my life has been a pretty deep obsession with marketing and business and direct response and selling. And, we've done everything from, I've had supplement companies, we've had info product companies, coaching companies, we've had companies that grown up to 100 people. And then I almost bankrupted them and crashed them down, around my feet again, and then rebuilt things back up. And right now things are in a really good spot. We have a company called Clickfunnels that, man, is 3.5 times bigger than anything I've ever built in the past. And it's going crazy. And we're having the time of my life growing it and selling products through it. And it's been a great ride and loving every minute of it.
I'm fascinated with your Clickfunnels business. But by the way, so I've been a user since, I think pretty much since it first launched. If it wasn't like beta, it was very shortly after that, but I've been a user for a long time. And I got a bunch of questions about that, but I was wondering, was your first successful business after that 2 years of trying stuff that didn't work? Was that the one, the potato gun business?
Yeah, I had a couple little ones like that at the time. I tried a bunch of things that didn't work, and then someone was talking about the info products, and that was like my first info product that, I mean, I say took off, like it made like $20 a day maybe, so it wasn't like a big deal, but for me it was a huge deal. Yeah, I made a potato gun DVD, teach people how to make potato guns, and started selling that, and that was kind of like the proof of concept, like, wow, you can actually sell things online. I had no idea people would pay for that kind of stuff, but they did.
Is that still going? Do you still sell that product?
No, we pulled it down for the amount of money it made and the liability of teaching people how to shoot potatoes at each other. My lawyers didn't like that idea. And a lot of people think it was like that it wasn't real. Like, no, Russell, you made that story up. So our last Funnel Hacking Live event, we had, I think 1,300 people in the room. I brought a DVD of it for every single person. I handed them all out. And I was like, there it is. And anyway, for the next like month, everybody on earth took screenshots of me with my buzzed head making potato guns and tagging me on Facebook all over. So, but yeah, I no longer sell it. But that was definitely what kind of got this whole thing kicked off. And it was the I don't know that you know this, like there's like this, when you first get into this business or any business, there's like this hope that it could be real. But then like when something happens and somebody gives you money for something, then that hope like transitions to a belief. And it was like, oh my gosh, I believe this is real. Like I can actually do it. And that potato gun thing was, for me, that was like, it caused belief that this was possible. And then from there, it was just off to the races.
I think even the amount of money that you make from a project like that is totally irrelevant. Like you said, initially, if it was making $20 a month, it just doesn't matter. It's just like, holy crap, this works. I'm making some money.
Yeah. Somebody actually gave me money for a crazy idea I had. And yeah, there's something about that. And like you do the math on that. It's like, man, I made a penny an hour, but it's like, that doesn't matter. That penny was worth so much because, it's what caused, it was the seed of belief, which is the key to it all.
Well, how did it feel when all of a sudden you realize, this is working?
Oh, I still remember. So the very first thing I ever sold, it was $20 and it came into our PayPal account. And I was like insanely, I had a PayPal debit card, but I had no money ever in the PayPal account, right? So I made those $20 on it. So I went home that night with my wife and we just got married. And I was like, we have $20. And that was for like, she was making $9.50 an hour when we were married. So it was like, that was a lot of money for us. So we went out to Sizzler, had like nice dinner. We like went all out, spent the $20 and like it was a big deal for us. And then what's funny is like 2 days later, that person refunded.
Oh no.
I was like, oh crap. But like, yeah, I celebrate. It was a big deal. I always tell people that like, I have people that come to my world now and they'll build a funnel, they'll launch it and like, oh, we only made $120 and they're upset about it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like if you don't celebrate those little wins, like you will never have the big ones. Like the little wins are like the catalyst for the next thing. And I'm a huge believer in like celebrating and having, making it a big deal because it should be. And if it's not, then, you're probably not going to go far, I don't think.
Oh, so true. So in between that and Clickfunnels, you said, there's been a bunch of businesses launched. And so some successes, some failures, I imagine. And you mentioned some of them started growing really big and then they blew up and crashed. And tell me more about that.
I want to hear failure. Let's start with failure, Russell.
Yeah. Tell us like one that just was a bomb that like stunk up the room. You invested your heart in, all of a sudden it's like fizzle.
Yes, the bombs are good. In fact, it's funny. I was trying to do a deal with this guy who's a really successful entrepreneur and made a ton of money. And he asked me my story. I was telling him about, first you want to tell you like you're good, the shiny, happy side of your story. So I'm telling them that. And then he started asking me about like my failures. And finally I'm like, all right. So I was like, I almost went bankrupt twice. And I told him the whole stories. And he's like, okay, cool. You cycled. I'm willing to work with you. And I was like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, he's like, if you haven't cycled as an entrepreneur at least once, it means you still believe your own bio. Like you're still drinking your own Kool-Aid. He's like, I won't work with someone who hasn't cycled at least once. And I was like, that word cycled sounds so much cooler than failing. So I'm like, sweet, I've cycled twice now. Like, and so like now it's like a cool thing. And I always tell people like, if you haven't cycled, then like you're not a real entrepreneur because it's going to happen, I think. So yeah, so I've definitely cycled a couple times. The biggest one was, so if you look at my business, like I started out selling potato guns and little things like that. And I started making little software products that would help me with the businesses I was creating. And I kind of started doing stuff. And about the time I was graduating from college, people were asking me like, Russell, you're unemployed. How are you driving a nice car? How are you guys moving into a nice house? Like, didn't make sense to people around me. And so I started trying to, how it is that you get excited about this business, you start telling everybody about it and they all get excited, but then they don't do anything about it. And I was like, man, like this stuff is so cool. Why is nobody listening to me? And so then I started going online and telling people about it. And then people got excited. And soon I started building a following people that were just listening to me talk about what we were doing in our business. And that kind of became a business, which was like the teaching of internet marketing and all that kind of stuff, right? And so that was a business that started growing really, really quickly, like way too quick. Like looking back now as a, whatever I was, 22, 23-year-old kid, like wish I could go back to myself then and just be like, stop, like you're making horrible decisions. I started hiring everybody I met, like all my friends were unemployed. I'm like, you're unemployed? Cool. Come get a job with me. Like we'll hang out all day. It'll be fun. So I'm hiring my friends, my buddies, and like everybody who's got a pulse because I thought it was fun. And like, luckily we had some stuff that was working, but I woke up one day and I'm laying there in bed. I've got 100 employees, like 20,000 square foot building. I've got payroll loans, like $400,000 or $500,000 a month. Like, and I'm sitting there in bed and I was like, I remember being so sick to my stomach. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go in the office. The people we were selling to, like, I didn't enjoy them. And I was like, I remember vividly thinking, like, I wish I had a boss so that he could fire me. Like, that would be the greatest gift in the world right now. But I can't. Like, I created this horrible thing. And so I kept going to go back. And eventually one day it was, probably, I can't remember. I'm really bad at remembering years, but it was probably 7 years ago now. I was in the office and we're doing stuff and we had, again, 100 employees at the time. And all of a sudden, one of my sales guys came in and said, hey, I'm trying to run cards. Our merchant account's not working. Then another guy came in, not working. And then my tech guy's like, all of our rebills on our newsletter are failing. And I was like, what? But like, what's happening? And it took me a couple hours to figure out what's happening. But that day, and I don't know if you remember this, but that day, the merchant accounts kind of freaked out. Anyone who's doing any kind of like continuity programs, they shut down like thousands of vendors overnight and just froze all their accounts and held all their money. And that's happened to me. We had 9 different merchant accounts, but they were all in the same bank. I didn't realize that basically means I had one merchant account. 9 merchant accounts all got frozen. They held all the money I had. And it took, it took about 2 or 3 weeks to get some of that money back. But the process was about 2 years of that whole business collapsing and falling around me, where I ended up firing, 80 plus of my closest friends and family members and people I loved and cared about. I saw people that I thought were my best friends walk out on me, and it was a really, really painful thing. But it turned out being like one of the best, like one of those gifts in disguise, right? Where we shut everything down. We moved into a small office. I had a core group of 5 or 6 of us left, and we had this really cool experience of like reinvention. Like, what do we want to do when we grow up? Like, we had some successes, but that model was horrible. Like, what should we do? And we decided that we wanted to go back into the business and quit teaching it and just do it again. And so we shifted and we started doing the business again. And we launched a supplement company that blew up and did really well. We launched info products in the dating market. We launched info products in the weight loss market, in the couponing market. We launched, which probably wasn't a good idea looking back on it. We launched 12 companies in a year. And but it was fun. It was like getting back to like the basics of doing it again, not teaching it. And just like, and what was cool about it is we launched all these different niches. And this is something that drives me crazy about most people that teach marketing, is that like they assume that everything's the same in every single market. And there are things like there's like the core principles that are the same everywhere, right? But there's intricacies in every single market that are different, that if you don't understand those intricacies, like your business won't work. And I had this really cool thing where it's like, this should work. Why is it not working in this industry? And I had to try over and over and over again to also be like, oh, that's why. Like, these people respond differently. This is how the process should look for them. And it was just a really unique time that we spent probably 2 or 3 years doing that. And just, it was really, really fun. And then towards the end of that, it was honestly, because of our own stupidity, having 12 companies and each company had multiple offers, and it was just like became this huge nightmare to handle. And the worst part was like every time we wanted to create a new offer, it cost us, we would budget about $30,000 to create a new offer. So that's for the video sales letter, the sales funnel, the programming, the analytics, like all that stuff. And it just became such a pain in the butt every single time, and so expensive that one day me and my at the time he was an employee, now is my business partner. He said he's a programmer. He said we should build something that just makes this process simple, because we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. If we built a tool, we could really speed up our process and launch these offers and these funnels a lot faster. And that was the idea that became Clickfunnels. And fast forward now 3 years later, we've got 30,000 active entrepreneurs using it, and it's pretty amazing. So that's kind of the long story there. I hope I didn't go off too much of a tangent.
No, I think that's great. I was curious because I always kind of assumed that you didn't just get this idea like, hey, let's launch a business providing a software tool for marketers. I just kind of assumed like, I wonder if he just got frustrated with all the tools available for all the businesses he had and came up with Clickfunnels just for him.
100%. It was initially just for us. Like that was, and the other thing is like my designer, so I'm like pretty picky, like what I like and what I don't like. And I think that they got sick and tired of me doing stuff. And like, if we can create this thing where it's like so simple that Russell could actually do things and like he would quit bugging us for everything. Like you can ask my one designer who's been with me for like almost 10 years now. Like he's rebuilt one of my homepages probably upwards of like 30 different times, like multiple, like 4 or 5 times a year. And so they were like, we have like, that's why like I'll never get a tattoo because I know the second I had it, I'd be like, I got to erase it, but it would just never work, right? And so they were like, we need to create something that's so simple Russell can do it. So that became like the litmus test as they were building Clickfunnels. Was like they would create it and then they'd send it to me. And I'm like, how's this work? Like, we're not going to tell you. Like, we want to watch you trying to figure it out. And so I'd like click on things and try stuff. And every time I got stuck, they're like, crap, we didn't do it right. And then they'd go back. And it became this really cool thing that now has become like, you know, and it's embarrassing to say that like it was simple enough that Russell could do it. So now everyone else will use it. But like that's kind of what it turned into. And now it's a simple tool that everybody can use, which makes it so awesome.
It's way cool because like I don't know what the correct term is. There's pre-done templates for an entire funnel. Like I'm an idiot on this stuff, but yet I can go in there and create a whole funnel. Like right with like it's nothing, man. It's like for me, it's like typing into a Word doc or something. It's
it's like it puts the power back into the entrepreneur's hands, right? Like you think about like, and I've been on going back into like this deep copywriting immersion thing for the last probably 30 days or so, which has been really fun.
Also, I forgot to mention this when we first started talking. You're a hell of a copywriter, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've had to learn it because it's so expensive to hire it out. Yeah. So like, as I've been going back in this, I'm like, man, like I look at most copywriters and they struggle making money because like they're one piece in this process and they've got to, you know, someone else has an offer and someone else has got the tech and there's like all these pieces where now it's like, if you can write copy, like log in Clickfunnels, write your sales letter in there, and like you don't need anybody else anymore. Like it puts the power back into the hands of the entrepreneur or the copywriter, the person who's selling stuff, where you're not, you know, held shackled by all the techie people anymore. It's like I'm obsessed with it. Even if it wasn't my product, I would still be obsessed with it because it's like it's just changed everything for me. It's been amazing.
Oh, big time. What you said about it gives you the power back. Like I love ready, fire, aiming ideas, and I like doing them right now. Like now, when I'm excited about it, I want.
By the time it's done, it's like I'm bored. Let's do the next.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to get it out there. Like, man, I'm excited about it. Let's see if other people are excited about it by voting for this thing with their wallets. And it's just so easy to ready, fire, aim stuff with ClickFunnels. I mean, I've got a guy on retainer who does website stuff on my blog and stuff like that. And, you know, he does a great job and he works fast, but still it kind of sucks when you want to ready, fire, aim something and then you got to wait X number of days for some designer to get it done. I mean, I just like, I like, you know, getting the inspiration at 1 a.m. after binge watching Breaking Bad or something. And like, you know, like grab the laptop when I'm still watching Breaking Bad, bang out this funnel. Like, yeah, let's test this and see what happens. And I love ClickFunnels for that.
Yeah, a really cool story. So one of our first members, his name's Trey Llewellyn, and he got in there. He's like, this is awesome. Because he'd been trying to use Shopify and some other things. And he's an e-commerce dude. And he was like, this is so cool because I can do it. And he's like, I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to build a funnel a week, every single week till I hit it big. And I was like, that's like, I remember him saying that on an interview with me. I'm like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Like everyone should be building at least a funnel a week. And I started watching him. I was watching him launch this funnel. And he sells to the gun market. So not how to make money stuff. It's like how to, like, I don't know, gun memberships and all that kind of stuff, right? And so I'm watching, he rolls out like a funnel where he's selling gun oil, and another one's selling gun targets and this, and then he's doing thing after thing. And each of them are having like these incremental successes, but he didn't know initially which one's going to be his winner. And so he kept trying this and this, and he kept just rolling out a funnel a week. And he had this funnel that had flopped. It was the flashlight funnel that didn't work. And so they scrapped it, and then he was doing this funnel week. And one week they came up and they had no other things to sell, but he had a closet full of flashlights that didn't sell from the other funnel. And he's like, let's do another funnel. Let's just make up a different one and see what happens. They made a new funnel for flashlights, put it out there. And for whatever reason, logic doesn't always make sense in this business. That one hit big. And he did over $10 million in sales in 90 days on that funnel.
Wow.
And it was just like, who knew that was the one? But like in a traditional business, that could have taken you 50 years to figure out that like, oh, wow, flashlight sold this way or the thing. But because he was able to like try new one. That's like, you know, we always talk about like, you don't know what your success and your failures are going to be. So it's like, let's fail really, really quickly. But like in the past, it was for me, like, you know, it was a $30,000 bet every time I failed prior to ClickFunnels. And now it was just like, you can, you know, do it in a weekend, do it in an hour, do it and just put it out there and get you past the failures and into like the winners. Like, and so like trade, just like that one is insane. It hit it out of the park and it was just crazy. That doesn't always happen, but that's how you get through to find out what people actually want and which offers are going to be the best.
I love stories like that. That the more frequent you get up to bat, the more likely you are going to get to that home run.
Yeah, exactly.
So it appears to moi, as a total outsider to this deal, that webinars are a big part of your strategy in building the Clickfunnels business. Am my assumption correct?
Very true. Yes. It's been very big for us.
So I hear through the grapevine that, I don't know if it's still true, but initially you did every webinar to promote Clickfunnels. You did it live. These weren't replays.
Yep. I did it live every week for a year and a half. Yes.
So my question is, why? What did you find, or what motivated you, or what results motivated you to do it live instead of just on one of the times you really nail it, just using that as a replay?
Oh man, that was just getting good, wasn't it? But you know how we do around here. We got to split that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back next week with part 2 of Dan's interview with internet marketing legend, Mr. Russell Brunson. Until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to create rivers of revenue from your existing customers, then the next thing you need to do is go to DobermanDan.com. He's giving away a free copy of his $98 per month Doberman Dan letter just for listening to the show. Go to DobermanDan.com now and sign up for your free issue.
This is the podcastfactory.com.